Today we're painting Foxglove. And if you're new, hello, my name is Nisha and I teach watercolor and illustration tutorials. So grab your supplies and let's get started. Okay, so let's start with a light green paint. It's a little bit yellow green, and I have a round brush that I'm using. And I'll start by putting in that center stem, and the top of it has a lighter green shade, and it will change as you move down. I'm adding a little bit more yellow towards the edges here while it's still wet, and then those two colors are going to naturally blend together. Remember that if you need a photo reference, you can refer to the Pinterest board that I have linked. Alright, so rinsing your brush, using a little lavender pinkish color, we can start putting in more of the floral part. And they're a little bit wider and more open, so start with some circles, and then the back will attach to the center stem. One tip I want to point out, it's a lot easier to get a more gestural mark when you hold your brush higher. So I'm not holding very close to the brush part, I'm holding up higher on the handle, and that is going to make it easier for you to get a loose style. You can also pull that lavender color up into some of that yellow-green part, and it'll mix up together if it's still wet. Okay, and then rinsing your brush, going back with some of that green and putting in the stem. And then with my brush rinsed, I'm using almost just clear water to pull out some of those green pieces along the edges. And then putting in some leaves towards the bottom of the stem. And these are really light. You can always go in and add your layers darker on top, but I usually like to start very light and then build up my layers. Alright, so I'm switching to a smaller brush now and a darker lavender color, almost plum, and I'm putting in the speckles, which is part of the details. Okay, then give the brush a rinse. And I'm going back over with just a clean brush and touching some of those saturated dots and spots and pulling out some more translucent ones. So you get a nice contrast between the light and dark of the details. Okay, and then I rinse my brush, and with some more of that green, going in and adding some more shadows and building up that layer. And also pulling that shadow down into the stem and leaves at the bottom. And then you can give your brush a rinse and then use the end of your brush to blend out some of those harder edges if you want a soft edge. If you work quickly and the paint is still wet, this will be easy to do. Once it's dried, it's harder to blend hard edges. And then just a final few touches on that shadow, and then we're done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a ton of fun painting. Also, check the description. I run a free watercolor challenge for beginners, and I also have a beginner-friendly watercolor class. It's a course all about botanical illustration. So check out the links below, and I'll see you there.